Welcome to the Sunday School Reading Channel. Thank you for listening. Please help to support this channel by clicking the subscribe button. Our reading today for January 29th, 2023 is entitled Promises of Restoration and Gladness. The devotional reading comes from Exodus chapter 33, verses 12 through 23. And it reads as follows. Verse 12. Moses said to the Lord, "You have been telling me, lead these people, but you have not let me know whom you will send with me. You have said, I know you by name, and you have found favor with me." Verse 13. If you are pleased with me, teach me your ways so I may know you and continue to find favor with you. Remember that this nation is your people. Verse 14. The Lord replied, "My presence will go with you, and I will give you rest." Verse 15. Then Moses said to him, "If your presence does not go with us, do not send us up from here." Verse 16. How will anyone know that you are pleased with me and with your people unless you go with us? What else will distinguish me and your people from all the other people on the face of the earth? Verse 17. And the Lord said to Moses, "I will do the very thing you have asked, because I am pleased with you, and I know you by name." Verse 18. Then Moses said, "Now show me your glory." Verse 19. And the Lord said, "I will cause all my goodness to pass in front of you, and I will proclaim my name, the Lord, in your presence. I will have mercy on whom I will have mercy, and I will have compassion on whom I will have compassion." Verse 20. But he said, "You cannot see my face, for no one may see me and live." Verse 21. Then the Lord said, "There is a place near me where you may stand on a rock." Verse 22. When my glory passes by, I will put you in a cleft in the rock and cover you with my hand until I have passed by. Verse 23. Then I will remove my hand and you will see my back, but my face must not be seen. The next reading comes from the background scriptures of Joel chapter 1, verses 1 through 4, and chapter 2, verses 18 through 31, and it reads as follows. Verse 1. The word of the Lord that came to Joel, son of Pethuel. Verse 2. Hear this, you elders, listen, all who live in the land. Has anything like this ever happened in your days or in the days of your ancestors? Verse 3. Tell it to your children, and let your children tell it to their children, and their children to the next generation. Verse 4. What the locust swarm has left, the great locusts have eaten. Our next reading comes from Joel chapter 2, verses 18 through 31, and it reads as follows. Verse 18. Then the Lord was jealous for his land and took pity on his people. Verse 19. The Lord replied to them, "I am sending you grain, new wine and olive oil, enough to satisfy you fully. Never again will I make you an object of scorn to the nations." Verse 20. I will drive the northern horde far from you, pushing it into a parched and barren land. Its eastern ranks will drown in the Dead Sea, and its western ranks in the Mediterranean Sea. And its stench will go up, its smell will rise. Surely he has done great things. Verse 21. Do not be afraid, land of Judah. Be glad and rejoice. Surely the Lord has done great things. Verse 22. Do not be afraid, you wild animals, for the pastures in the wilderness are becoming green. The trees are bearing their fruit. The fig tree and the vine yield their riches. Verse 23. Be glad, people of Zion. Rejoice in the Lord your God, for he has given you the autumn rains, because he is faithful. He sends you abundant showers, both autumn and spring rains, as before. Verse 24. The threshing floor will be filled with grain. The vats will overflow with new wine and oil. Verse 25. I will repay you for the years the locusts have eaten, the great locust and the young locust, the other locust and the locust swarm, my great army that I sent among you. Verse 26. You have plenty to eat until you are full, and you will praise the name of the Lord your God, who has worked wonders for you. Never again will my people be ashamed. Verse 27. Then you will know that I am in Israel, that I am the Lord your God, and that there is no other. Never again will my people be ashamed. Verse 28. And afterward I will pour out my spirit on all people. Your sons and daughters will prophesy. Your old men will dream dreams. Your young men will see visions. Verse 29. Even on my servants, both men and women, I will pour out my spirit in those days. Verse 30. I will show wonders in the heavens and on earth, blood and fire and billows of smoke. Verse 31. The sun will be turned to darkness and the moon to blood before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord. This concludes our reading of Joel chapter 2, verses 18 through 31. I will end this broadcast by reading Psalms chapter 1 from the King James Version. Please read with me. Verse 1. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. Verse 2. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law doth he meditate day and night. Verse 3. And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth his fruit in his season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. Verse 4. The ungodly are not so, but are like the chaff which the wind driveth away. Verse 5. Therefore the ungodly shall not stand in the judgment, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous. Verse 6. For the Lord knoweth the way of the righteous, but the way of the ungodly shall perish. If this reading has been a blessing to you, please like, share, and subscribe. And until we meet again, may the Lord bless you abundantly.